Welcome back to this video. So in this video we're going to be seeing a behind the scene interview that we've done with a member of ours called Aissatou. Aissatou is from France. She's going to be sharing what is her strategy. She's doing rent to rent. She's making 33k a month, and she's going to be sharing how she scales. She's going to give a lot of nuggets how she scale, and also things that she's doing, why she's in property, things that she's done wrong. For example, she's going to give a lot of nuggets like kind of don't be attached to the deal. Only a deal is a deal when the deal closes, and much more. So if in case you're in a rent or you wanted to start rent, watch this video until the end. She's going to give a lot of nuggets that might help you in your journey. Now, the audio is not very good, so I apologize for the audio, but I hope you can hear her and get some nuggets from her. I will see you in the end of the video. Bye now. So we're going to go through the profit now, but how much is kind of your revenue for these 15 properties?
So for this across the whole, the board is 33k, sorry. It's 33,000 across the 15.
And that is monthly?
That is monthly, yeah.
So it's like 400,000, then, of course you have costs. So then, you're going to be 400,000, yeah. So Aissatou, so for those who don't know you, who are you, and all this good stuff.
Yeah, so what I'm going to be doing, so first of all, hi everybody from the deal generator. And basically that's been quite basically like journey changing for me. I joined basically after spending £20,000 in a property course that from which I didn't really get any value, and the deal generator straight away could show some really concrete basically steps to get to where I needed to be. So I live, as you can hear from my accent, I'm from Paris, and I've been in London since I've like 17 years ago, really. Came to study, and basically my background professionally is I'm a sourcer actually, so I source services for global corporate companies. So I've worked for Barclays, HSBC, Capita, and the likes. And what I do for them is to negotiate contracts globally and negotiate their pricing. The reason why I wanted to get in property is because I'm not coming from a really rich, wealthy background, but my father used to keep telling us about property, and that it was really important for anyone, whether you're rich or poor, to, before you pass away, to have to own something, to have something tangible to own it. And I never really listened, because I was like, well, how am I going to ever buy a property? Of many properties, that never really was something important to me. But then he passed away. And then at around the same time, it was about 5 years ago, at around the same time with war, there was a lot of changes going, and I didn't feel like I was bringing that much impact and I was doing much with my life, really. So I started investigating property, and for me it was really eye-opening, because it meant almost taking control of my life, taking control of the time I had left. And I realized that actually I was tied up to a job. Although at the time I was like, well, I really like my job, but at the same time, I don't have much choice. I'm here in the UK, most of my family is in France. I don't get to see them as much as I'd like. But for me, this was a way out of all this, but also a way to do something that I'm really proud of. So that's what it was. That's what property is for me. Yeah, I'm excited, really. So that's me. Sorry, it's been a bit longer than what I want, but I wanted to kind of really explain why really for me property is important. So now basically what I do in property is very much is varied. So I have my property management company, 20 Property. That's my property management company. I do rent-to-rent SA, rent-to-rent HMO, and I'm just starting to manage service accommodation for other people. I also have my sourcing company, and I mostly source rent-to-rent, and I'd like to also kind of grow the buying side whenever possible. So what's my strategy? So at the moment, it's a mix of rent to rent. So I've got 6 rent to rent SA, one of which is fully managed by a company, and I have 9 rent to rent HMO, 2 of which that are being live in July, basically. So contract signed, and they'll be live in July, and I've got a few again on the pipeline. So for that reason, I need to get money to fund my pipeline, hence why I'm sourcing to fund all those properties, and mainly in London, but also do other area.
So Aissatou, I know people are going to ask you some questions. Just want to ask on that one. So you have 9. So how much it costs you to set up a property?
Good
kind of
question.
on average, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So usually people would think that rent to rent SA would be maybe 3,000 to 5,000 if you do a 2-bed in average, but it costs you for a 2-bed in average anywhere between 7 to 8K to do something of a bit quality. Obviously you can spend less, but it won't really be really great, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, so because rent SA, you're kind of competing with the hotel, so that makes sense. How about rent to rent? So
The
HMO.
rent to rent HMO, it depends. So some of them that I got were done, basically. So I was lucky in some of them. But in the ones where I needed to do a bit more work without doing a full refurb, like a bathroom or a kitchen, it was about 2,500 to 3,000 just to kind of buy some, for example, floating shelves, some frames, like put a rug here and there, getting some decorative item, maybe painting a feature wall. All in all, 2,500 to 3,000. Basically, I try to keep the HMO simple.
Yeah. So and how? So we're going to go through the profit now, but how much is kind of your revenue for these 15 properties?
So for this 50 across the whole, the body is 33K. Sorry, it's 33,000 across the 15.
And that is monthly.
That is monthly, yeah.
So it's like 400,000. Then of course, you have costs. So then you're going to
exactly,
be 400,000. Yeah, 400,000 400,000 revenue. Yeah. So you just kind of want to understand 400,000 revenue.
33K, yeah. That's correct.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I don't think this is bad. Who would be okay with 400,000 revenue?
I have some of the before, if you like. I can show you some of the before picture, but this is after, and this is what I've done with
the property.
So that was the living room. As you can see, it's very very different from today. So that was that, and basically that's the living room here.
Oh wow.
So that was one of the bedroom there. So the green bedroom. So it was very much a blank canvas that then took to kind of bring some color for it to be visible on the likes of Airbnb. I like to bring yellows and really colors that will attract the eye without it being too much. So that's what I was trying to do on here. Yeah, for me the key lesson. So I was gonna go for 3 bullet points, but actually just for me it's important to talk about those. So number 1, a deal is not a deal until it's signed. Never get emotionally attached. In a lot of cases or a lot of scenario, I found deals. I thought they were a deal and then fell through at the last minute. And for me, it meant everything. And I got emotionally attached, and it felt like, oh no, I'm not doing well, and it's hard to get back and move on from that. But what I've learned, and now I'm not really like that. I don't really care. So I go into a deal expecting that it will fall through, unless obviously, it's signed. For me, it's not there. So I make sure that I get as many deals as possible, and I'm not really that bothered. Whenever someone tells me no, okay, fine, I've got another 20 people to talk to, it's okay. So I try and have that mentality.